Now, we begin. And again, greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Once again, we come forth to abide with you. Once again, we come forth to celebrate with you. Once again, we come to abide with the holy mind that is the sonship. We come to abide with our brothers and sisters, and we come as brothers and sisters. And indeed, we come forth to abide in that process whereby the sonship is remembering itself as the Son. Something to contemplate there. Indeed, beloved friends, I am one who comes forth in this particular work to be as the primary spokesman through this, my beloved brother, to share that with you which already resides within you. I come forth, we come forth, to join with you who have chosen to answer a certain call, to bring forth a creative expression that can signify to the world the truth that alone can set this world free. Free of what? Free of fear, and all of the children that fear begets. Guilt, dishonesty, unworthiness, limitation, the need for suffering, judgment, and the list goes on and on. But ultimately, when a gardener seeks to improve the quality of the soil from which that gardener would want his flowers to bloom forth, the gardener seeks not to look upon the effects of a weed, that is that which is above the surface, but rather makes haste and goes for the root. And when the root has been pulled up, the effects of that weed can no more be seen. Therefore, in truth, we come not to improve what you would be thinking of as the surface of the garden, the surface of the soil, but to strike at the root that resides deep within the mind, in the depth which I have called the heart or the soul. All that we endeavor to do then is designed to uproot the weed of fear that has made a home in the depth of your being. And in this past year, as you would know time, we have endeavored to share with you what we have chosen to call the way of the heart, which has required for those of you that have truly participated in the devotion necessary to extract the wisdom which has been offered to you. The way of the heart has been designed to bypass the cognitive or thinking mind and to strike at the roots of fear that abide in the depth of the mind and therefore resides in a place that is, by and large, what you would call unconscious. All that we do seeks to dissolve that root from the depth of your being. We cannot do this to you. We can only do it with you. For never can anything be forced upon the mind of the Son of God. The Holy Spirit makes no effort to usurp or take from you your freedom. For in your freedom all power under heaven and earth resides. And grace does not descend until your Father knows that you are willing to prepare a place to receive it. And this is why in the process of healing and awakening, it is not necessary to seek for love. It is only necessary to prepare the place, the soil, by choosing to discover the obstacles to love, which all come down to fear, and to be willing to loosen that root, that it might be removed from the garden of your consciousness, and then that rain of grace that purifies, transforms, awakens, and brings Christed consciousness to the mind, can descend gently. For when the rain falls upon hard ground, it strikes the soil and runs off, and the garden remains barren. But the wise gardener, who has softened the soil, who has reached in and begun to pull up the roots, to sift the soil and make it soft and open and porous, with the intent of bringing forth a beautiful garden, will indeed then be assisted by the rain of grace that falls gently without it being earned. It is given freely. This year, drops of grace have been offered to you in each and every one of your months. Some you have received, some you have not noticed. Some are waiting to penetrate the deeper levels of your consciousness as you continue in your willingness to release fear. And suddenly a pearl of grace that has not yet been received will sink deep, and the recognition will come. The awakening will come. And suddenly you'll find yourself saying, wait a minute, this insight, this vision, this realization I've just had, it sounds like something that was on tape number 1. I think I'll go back and listen. Yes, there it is. I wonder why I didn't notice it the first time. It is simply the natural process in which the drops of rain of grace had not yet a place to be received. Understand then, and this is of great importance as we move into this next year, that all that transpires from this point rests on how well the gardener has cultivated the soil with the tools that have been given. If they have not been utilized, the soil remains hard, and the drops of rain run off and pool in the side of the garden, waiting for the soil to be properly prepared. Of all of these, that which can continue and will continue to serve you in the greatest will be the simple 5-minute practice of abiding as Christ and observing all that you see, all that you feel, all that you think, as though a perfectly awakened Christ was the only one sitting in that chair. I know that this sounds simplistic for you, but the way is easy and without effort. Complexity is born of the world and not from the mind of God. Therefore, continue well in that practice and allow it to be the foundation from which the soil is prepared, the roots of fear are loosened, even in ways that you cannot comprehend with the thinking mind. For the roots of fear are not merely ideas. They are the effects of ideas. They've been allowed to penetrate deep into what you call the unconscious. This is why the way of transformation, which is, by the way, the entitlement, the title that we will give what is to be shared during your next calendar year. It is why the way of transformation requires not striving, but allowing. Not thinking, but letting go. Feeling. Not doing, but trusting. Those roots of fear must be dissolved at a level that is deeper than the conscious thinking mind can reach. The mind was never designed to be your master, but to become aligned as a servant of the awakened heart. Just like the flower blooms and sends forth its scent for all to see from the depth of the soil that is unseen but has been well prepared, so that the only roots that gather nourishment from the soil are the roots of that which speaks of life and beauty, not that which speaks of fear and unworthiness. Seek you then to seek no more. For the place is prepared for you, and you need only go to it. Therefore, we will be cultivating more deeply the art of surrendering, resting ever more deeply into that place of silence, which is the threshold to perfect wisdom divine. The way of the heart is the preparation of the soil, which allows the way of transformation to truly occur. And transformation is not complete unless it envelops, encompasses, and is expressed through the very life you know. Right there on your speck of dust, whirling about one sun, in a small part of one universe. Your earth, your time frame, your relationships, your experience, your life, as you know it, as you live it, as you breathe it, as you feel it. So, to many of you that are listening and the breath is beginning to stop, let the breath flow and realize that with your grand technologies you have the freedom to go back and see if there's anything you missed. As you do that, do it from a place of Christedness. I am that one choosing to enter the way of transformation whereby human consciousness, the human lived experience, becomes the living expression, the fruit which has sprung forth from the soil in which the root of grace and of love and of healing has been well planted. Not from the perspective that you are doing something amiss, but out of the desire to be the master gardener who brings forth that fruit which extends beauty in the scent of joy for all to be received, for all to see, for all to marvel at. And yet that beauty that springs forth from the gardener's beautiful garden does not build up the ego of the master gardener, for a master gardener knows that he or she has only been the keeper of the soil. But the magic that brings forth the flower is not his or her possession. It is merely that which you have been given stewardship over. Consciousness. And consciousness is the gift of life streaming forth from the mind of God. Your mind, then, is the soil of the garden, and all awakening and all transformation occurs nowhere save in that garden. And right away some of you are still seeking to understand the mind by seeing it as something that is locked inside the shape of your skull and is somehow cohabitating with what you call the gray matter of the brain. Rest assured, your mind is unlimited forever. And the body that sits in the chair in your 5-minute exercise is as a drop of foam being expressed at the slightest tip of one wave in an infinite ocean. And that ocean is itself within the unlimited expanse of your mind. You are consciousness as such. Pure spirit. The only question then is, are you willing to allow that drop of foam to be transformed into that which fully and always expresses only the love of God? Even though that expression is still temporary, because the body has arisen in the field of time and disappears in the field of time, are you willing to say, what the heck? And allow that love to be as fully embodied as it is possible for it to be for the split second that the body is in this world. For rest assured, to the degree that you turn your attention to expressing mastery, which is the effect of the way of transformation, in this world, in this time, in this little tiny moment, to the degree that you do that, to the degree that you use time wisely to be the embodied Christ, rest assured that when the body drops away and it veils from you no longer the magnificence of the light you are, the light will not be blinding to you, and you will not contract in fear. You will merely let this world go, gently and as easily as a child has put away a toy that has been outgrown, because its usefulness is complete. All that you see, the body, your relationships, your devices, your stars, and your winds, and your waters, will eventually be put aside by you, not out of denial, but simply out of recognizing that their usefulness is over. Indeed, beloved friends, as we then come to the completion of this one brief year together, look well to see that no drops of grace have been ignored. Open the heart ever more deeply. Allow those pearls, those drops of rain of grace to penetrate ever more deeply, not just as ideas in the thinking mind, but as feelings in the cells of the body. Let it create for you a sweetness in the flow of breath, a sensitivity in the way your foot rests upon the soil of the earth with each step. Let it begin to transform the way in which you rest your hand upon the shoulder of your brother or sister. Allow that sweetness to permeate your gaze as you look upon another, seeing the Christ within them that is growing into a beautiful flower whose scent and beauty will be as a blessing to many. For there is no one among you who is not the evolving Christ. Remember always that what you see is what you get. In the same way that as you teach, you learn. Look well then, and ask yourself this: who do I know in my existence whom I have judged and locked into a certain box, and I have decided that is all they are? There you will find a fruitful meditation for the remainder of your time until we begin that which will be called the way of transformation. In other words, you have about 30 days to take the time and use it wisely, to allow the names, the images, the faces of those that you've done that to let them come back to you, to say, you know, mother, father, ex-mate, whatever it is, I get it. I've placed you in a box and thrown away the key. You're stuck, so I have said. And now I release you that I might be released. And contemplate their image. Allow the memories of the experiences you have shared with them to come back. There are feelings, by all means, let yourself feel them. Gaze upon them in your mind until you feel that sweetness that dissolves the imprisonment into which you've placed them. For as that imprisonment begins to melt, you will sense and know that your freedom is blossoming. You cannot take fear into love. You cannot take judgment into forgiveness. You cannot take limitation into unlimitedness. These things must be released at the level in which they were first created. Therefore, make note that this practice should not be overlooked. Give yourself 30 days with the goal to truly go back and, shall we say, mop up any forgiveness or releasing that you need yet to do. Don't let the mind say, I don't know if I did that well enough. For understand, it is the Comforter that releases you and the other through your willingness to allow it to occur. Now there are some effects. This will mean that when you have truly done that, never again do you have any justification or excuse for attaching any experience you have had, any feelings you have ever felt, shall we say, to the hook on the side of their imprisonment that you've placed them in. Often the human mind, the egoic mind, wants to hang the coat of its judgment on the hook just outside the bars in which you have locked someone. That which I have experienced is the result of my father's alcoholism. That which I have experienced in life is the result of my mother having 40,000 affairs a week. That which I have experienced is the result of my business partner who has stolen my golden coins, and all of the rest. That which has caused my suffering is the result of the position of the stars in the sky when I chose incarnation. If only they would have gotten it right, I would be okay. It is time fully, as we conclude this year of the way of the heart, to those that will be concluding it many years hence, I say unto you, do not enter the way of transformation until you've truly and fully satisfied your awareness that you are not clinging to even the subtlest iota of perception that in any way you are a victim of the world you see. Nothing has been caused by your relationships. All of them have merely shown you what you have already decided will be true. The world, then, is not the cause of anything. You merely see what you have used the freedom of your consciousness to concoct about yourself. Lack is not caused by taxation. Taxation is caused by the decision to need to believe that there is a power outside of yourself that needs all of your energy. Government does not cause you to be subservient. Your sense of being subservient, guilt-ridden, weak, and limited is what births the idea of government. And then some of you as loving brothers and sisters say, well, I'll play that part. And they become your politicians that, pardon the language, create the pissing off feeling that you have. The world is uncaused by anything save the choices you have made as a free consciousness. You've concocted the thought, immersed yourself in that which reflects back to you what you have already decided to believe. This means that the way of transformation is that way in which one becomes empowered in every moment to become fully responsible for clearly deciding what they will see and that they will not settle for anything less. The better you get at this, the quicker it happens. Until one reaches the point where miracles occur. And yet, they are only miraculous to those that do not understand how consciousness works. And you can achieve that place in which you hold out the palm of the hand and desire the sweetest tasting apple that has ever been created, and it will literally appear in the palm of your hand. Of course, at that point, you'll be well beyond any need whatsoever to even hold the thought of requiring physical form. You will begin then to get a sense of your mastery by being able to look at the world you're seeing and observing clearly what's been changing in it and how quickly and effortlessly that which the heart truly desires, because it's in alignment with the mind of God, becomes manifested effortlessly. When the gap between the pure desire and the manifested reflection of it is smaller and smaller and smaller, you will literally sense in the feeling body that mastery is growing, and that you are merely a child of God playing without ceasing in the sandbox of all possibilities called the mind. And that there is literally nothing out there that is solid. Nothing out there that is unrelated to you. So, that's where we're going, if you wish to come along on the journey. If you are willing to truly become committed to uprooting every root of fear that has taken hold within the depth of the mind, that has been rendered unconsciousness because of your hatred of yourself. It's called the separation from God. And therefore, because it has become unconscious, it has ruled you. Time to release the unrulable by allowing that alone, which can uproot the root of fear, to come and take up its rightful place within you. Christ-mindedness. So, you have your homework before you then. Go within and ask. When that third tape came and I listened to it, but I was trying to watch the game of the football on the television, I wonder if I missed something. When I listened to tape number 7, but was on the way to having the dinner date with that new body that looked so enticing to me, did I really sit with it and extract all of the pearls that were offered? Perhaps I'll go back and really set aside an hour in which I deliberately set the world aside, and what you do, and you believe, you call it the hanging on every word. And yet with a relaxed body and a soft breath and a non-grasping mind, be you therefore like a sponge that allows the raindrops to be absorbed into the self. And that is all. Knowledge is not a cognitive struggle. It is not the arranging of ideas in some order that satisfies the thinking mind. Knowledge is the receiving of a vibration that begins to soften the soil of the heart and dissolves the root of fear from your being. Knowledge is that which is the result of the transformation of the garden that you have been given and entrusted with, the field of mind that is you. And that mind pervades the body, pervades the space around you, and melds and dances with other infinite webs of relationship called other minds. Energy dancing into energy, unlimited forever, out of which all things of time are birthed and pass away. So you see, where I abide is everywhere at once. And so do you. You simply don't know it yet. I abide with an infinite array of friends who have realized the truth and have been set free. They are infinitely creating without ceasing that which extends their treasure, which is the good, the holy, and the beautiful. Many have given you images of choirs of angels singing the praises of God. It's the same thing. For when extension of joy becomes free to express only the good, the holy, and the beautiful, it is like a vibration of many notes, a choir of creative consciousnesses, sparks of divinity, who abide in perfect unlimitedness and know it, and ceaselessly extend their deepest bliss by allowing the good and the holy and the beautiful to flow through them from the infinite, mysterious, ungraspable, uncontainable mind that is God. As the sunlight of the sun creates and streams through many sunbeams that extend out to the far reaches of your universe as light, out of which planets are birthed, and animals and water and trees and birds and man. Imagine then that that is your destiny, to take up your rightful place beside me, to join your brothers and sisters in infinite and perfect creativity, like a harp player would ceaselessly run the fingers across the strings, creating the most beautiful notes, and the combinations never cease. And in every moment you experience the fruit of the flowers springing forth from the garden that you have well prepared to receive the rain of grace. Evermore, 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 the good, the holy, and the beautiful, flowing through your unobstructed mind that rests in perfect marriage or union with that which is your Creator, your Source. Not a bad way to spend eternity. But if you look ahead and feel that there is a distance between where you are and where that reality is, you will miss the opportunities required right where you are to practice where you're going by being it now. You have heard it said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And the beginning is every bit as important as the end. For in the beginning, the end is already present. The way of transformation, then, asks you to truly become present where you are, to deliberately and consciously cultivate with every thought and every breath the willingness necessary that allows the root of fear to be dissolved, so that the good and the holy and the beautiful is all that emanates from you like a beacon being sent out to creation around you. Do not delay. Do not waste time. Time can indeed be wasted. Listen well, for time can also waste. You have a saying we would perceive in many of your silly little movies where someone gets wasted. Oh, go and waste Charlie. How many times have you been the mafia leader that has said to yourself, well, I think I'll just waste myself? How many ways have you gone unconscious? How many ways have you numbed your feelings? How many ways have you judged your brother or sister? How many ways have you decided to hold on to thoughts that say, I could never do that. What's the point? It's a waste. Oh yes, you've just put a gun to your head and pulled the trigger. You've wasted yourself by wasting time. Every moment is as a doorway through which the good and the holy and the beautiful can be expressed. The cultivation of the consciousness through which the power to do so grows. Oh, beloved friends, those moments of your time are very precious. Do not look out upon the world and go, well, what the heck, it's just the same old world. Remember then, as you begin to come to the completion of this year's Way of the Heart, that what you see outside of you is only the reflection of what you have allowed to live within you. And simply ask, is this what I wish to continue? What do I truly want? What is this, my very consciousness, for? What do I commit myself to? What do I say I believe? Where do I freely choose to place the power of valuation? For what you value, you experience immediately. And the world will bow down and say, very well. You have let us know what you value. We will mirror it back to you. Because we love you. Because we're a part of you. And heaven forbid that we would take away your free will. So if you value hopelessness, the world will be a hopeless place. If you value lack of golden coins, you will continue to see lack of golden coins. Flow of energy is all that means. If you value loneliness, you will continue to be alone. If you value the right to be in judgment of another, you will experience the fruit of separation. If you value sweetness, sweetness will come. If you value receiving love, listen to this carefully. If you value receiving love, the world will begin to show up at your doorstep in completely different embodiments. Different vibrations, different thought patterns will be mirrored back to you that let you receive love. For nothing can be received until the place is prepared for it to enter. And you can only give what you have been willing to receive. If you receive a drop of water into your glass, that is all that you can give to another. But he that receives all, gives all. And he that gives all, receives tenfold more. So, it has been a good year, and we have watched with great amusement at times, but always great compassion, and always perfect patience, and always perfect love. We have called out to you across space and time, and if you have heard the call, the connection, the relationship with us is already established. There's then no bridge to cross, merely the willingness to receive what is true. Jeshua is available for me always. Mary is available for me always. The one you would call as my friend as Germain is available for you always. The entire family, lineage of masters that have sought through time to create a frequency and a vibration that can dissolve the effects of the negative thinking that you have extend it out of your mind, that creates like the smoke in the veil around you, to dissolve that. All of us are available to you, and our number is legion. Rest assured, you are not alone. And in any moment, you need only call upon me, and I am with you. And I do not come alone. For some of you then, we would highly suggest that in those moments when you feel like you need a little help, when fear seems to be coming up, but you know you must go ahead, whether it be to spend golden coins to go visit some teacher, whether it be to tithe to some church, whatever it be, whatever you think you're fearing, simply say, legions of angels and masters and friends whose number is infinite beyond comprehension, you who are sent directly of God to assist me over the ditch, come now, because I declare it and I receive it, and therefore it is. And then take the step that is necessary to take. It will not be your imagination. We will be with you. And the perfect end is certain. Fear is nothing more than the illusion you have chosen to value in order to experience what it's like to feel separate from love. That's all. You merely waved your cosmic magic wand and said, let there be fear, so I can experience it. And that's all. We love you beyond your present comprehension. We love you. Beyond all comprehension, even at what you might perceive to be our level of functioning, is the presence of God's love, which we seek to merely pour forth to you, that by giving we continually receive. You see, the laws of consciousness work for us just like they work for you. We're just more aware of them, that's all. That love which God is incomprehensible forever. The sunbeam can never comprehend the sun. I am a sunbeam to that sun. You are a sunbeam to that sun. We are therefore made of one substance, and that substance alone sustains us throughout eternity. And the greatest of joys is to surrender fully into allowing that light to light your way without ceasing. And she that releases the world embraces the Creator, and he that releases fear remembers love. She that embodies forgiveness lives at peace, and he that relinquishes control knows perfect trust. And that awakened Christ that has surrendered the knot of fear, called I, rests in unlimitedness forever, in perfect communion with all of creation. And that union never ceases. It merely expands and extends as life comes forth, creation comes forth, extending the good, the holy, and the beautiful. A flower that blooms in the spring for a day is the good, the holy, and the beautiful. The bird that alights upon your fence and sings its morning song has come forth from that infinite, perfect sun, and its notes extend the joy of the Son of God. The smile upon one of your brothers and sisters who has received a pearl of grace through you is creation itself and is the presencing of the good, the holy, and the beautiful. The rays of sunlight that dance upon the oceans of this world creatively sing forth the good, the holy, and the beautiful. Every loving thought that you allow to be cultivated in the garden of your own mind extends the good, the holy, and the beautiful. Therefore, sing that song without ceasing, and be willing, as we close this year, to celebrate your willingness to embrace with perfect deliberateness your creativity and the power you have, the dominion over that which is planted in the soil of your mind. Prepare that soil well as you complete this year, that the pearls of grace might bring you into the way of transformation. And with that, beloved friends, by the time you hear this, you will have celebrated your birth date as those sunbeams which are expressed through these stories of the birth of Christ into the world. Seemingly that occurred 2,000 years ago? For me. Is it not time now for you to let that same birthing be fully completed in you? Therefore, we bring this message to a close for now. Know that it has been our honor and our joy to abide with you. And there is a whole host of beings encircling you every moment. You remember that you have chosen to answer a call that can be traced to the very mind of God, who has reached out to call his creation, you, back to himself, so that you can deliberately extend love without ceasing. Yes, we will have that which is called the question-answer period. But for now, we bid you peace. We give you love. We hold you with perfect patience, knowing the truth that is true alone about you. And we will never leave you. Peace then be unto you always. Amen.